Before this season, I picked Colorado to go 10-2 and win the Big 12. And of course, everybody was calling me delusional. They said I was a Coach Prime, Dick Rider. I was a casual. I fell victim to the Dion tax. And you know what's funny is that with the more wins Colorado continues to rack up, the more quiet the haters have started to become. And a lot of the haters were saying Colorado's going to be 4-8, 5-7 at best. Well, they're 6-2 right now, right? They're 4-1 in the Big 12. And with Kansas State getting upset by Houston, Iowa State getting upset by Texas Tech, do you know what that means for Colorado? Go ahead and admit it. Go ahead and admit it. You don't want to admit it, but at least you know what's about to happen. Colorado is about to win the Big 12 championship and make it into the college football playoffs. And that is something that a lot of you haters never saw coming. As a matter of fact, even people who were supporters of Dion probably didn't imagine Colorado would be as good or in the position that they are right now. But what I was trying to tell you folks before the season started, but y'all didn't want to listen to me, is that the Big 12 is the worst P4 conference in college football. Colorado, the gap between them and the rest of the conference, there was no gap. If anything, Colorado was the most talented team in this conference entering this season. You just didn't believe it because you couldn't picture Deion Sanders, somebody who doesn't have that much coaching experience, who has built the team through the transfer portal. Pretty much, he's taken the NFL approach. He's treated the transfer portal like free agency in college football, and it's actually worked out. Many people consider what Deion has done at Colorado, overhauling this team through the portal, to be nothing more but an experiment that was going to fail because you can't build a team through the portal. At least that's what they thought. Well, Deion has done it. And in the span of only 2 years, he's taken a one-win program and turned them into a team that has aspirations to make it into the 12-team college football playoffs. You know, the door is wide open for Colorado to win the Big 12. You got two of the best players in college football, two potential top 3 picks in next year's draft in Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. With those two guys alone, they equal at least 3-4 wins because when they are at their best and they're playing their best football, they can take over games and they can just be downright unstoppable. And what I was trying to tell you folks who didn't want to listen to me about why Colorado was going to win the Big 12 is that a lot of teams in the Big 12 don't have a good pass rush. What happened to Colorado week 2 against Nebraska was them going up against a team that had one of the best defensive lines in the sport. Nebraska is top 10 in sacks per game. They average nearly 4 or 5 sacks every game they play in. The Big 12 doesn't have a team that has any defensive line as good as what Colorado saw early this season when they got splattered by Nebraska on the road. And also, you played a Colorado team that they aren't as good now as what they were early during the season. If Nebraska and Colorado were to run it back in a rematch, Colorado would kick their ass. Nebraska just lost to UCLA today. Colorado came 3 points shy of beating Kansas State. This is a team now that you just can't say they're a good story, they're Hollywood, they only play for clicks. Deion has built a good football team this year, and a football team that not only is going to win the Big 12, but a football team that's going to be in the 12-team college football playoffs this year due to how weak this conference has been. There's not an elite team in this thing. There's not an Oregon or a Washington. And when you have a conference that doesn't really have a lot of talent in it in terms of guys being as good as what Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders is, it makes it for a guy like Deion Sanders a little bit easier to have a lot of success, because what happened to Colorado in the Pac-12 last year is that Deion was coaching in a conference that had the best season that it's ever had in well over a decade. You played a lot of great quality teams. Well, this year, you're not going up against the same level of competition. And at the same time, Colorado is not the same team that people thought they were last year. You see, the problem is that you judged Colorado based off what they were last year, and you overlooked the changes that Deion Sanders made to not only just that staff, but that team in general. And Deion Sanders has improved as a head coach. The clock management has gotten better. The team seems to be more prepared. They got a lot of NFL guys on that staff. You got Warren Sapp coaching up the D-line. And a lot of Colorado fans, the ones that I won't even call them Colorado fans, the Deion fans out there think I'm a hater because how I talk about this team at times. But early during this season, when I said this was a poorly coached team, I wasn't saying it to hate on Deion. That was rooted in disappointment because I got $150 on Colorado winning the Big 12, and I can't wait for them to do it so I can cash that bad boy out. Because, listen, this is a team that has 4 or 5 future NFL wide receivers. You got a decent offensive line. Colorado's offensive line has only given up 2 sacks combined in their last 2 games. They only gave up 1 against Cincinnati, and I forgot the other team that they played before Cincinnati, but Colorado right now, they're playing their best football. And late in the season, around this time, early November, late November is when you want to play your best football because this is when the pretenders separate themselves from the contenders. And right now, Colorado has separated themselves from the rest of the Big 12. Right now, there's only 2-3 teams in this conference that people are looking at to make it into the playoffs. That's BYU, Iowa State, and Colorado. So, a lot of you Colorado haters, man, your worst nightmare has come true. Deion Sanders is actually winning, and he's doing a lot of it right now with the Buffs. And the reason why I keep saying that Deion is going to leave is because a lot of these players that he has on his team right now, they're not eligible for another year of college football. So they're going to enter the NFL, and recruiting hasn't really been that good neither. So that shows that, you know, if Colorado does have the season that I believe they will have, he's going to end up taking a better job at a bigger program because he has already shown the ability to know what he's doing as a head coach. He knows how to overhaul a program. And this Colorado job for him, in my opinion, was viewed as a stepping stone to something greater. I wasn't saying it to hate on Colorado. I don't know why people think you saying that Deion Sanders is going to leave for a better job is hating, when it's actually praising somebody who has, in only 5 years, gone from somebody who was working on TV to becoming a head coach at Jackson State, succeeding at Jackson State, taking a bigger job at a primetime program. I won't say premier primetime program, but he's made it premier in primetime in a P4 conference that only won 1 game, brings in his Louis luggage, and all of a sudden has them talking about potentially making it to the playoffs. This is one of those situations where a lot of coaches aren't going to be able to replicate what Deion Sanders has done, and there are also going to be a lot of programs that are going to try to replicate this formula that Colorado has in hiring a guy who is an NFL legend, a household name, and think that is going to work out, and it doesn't. Look at UAB right now with Trent Dilfer. They thought getting Trent Dilfer, somebody who's won a Super Bowl, somebody that has a recognizable face to a lot of people of that era, was going to be able to help bring back UAB football, and all they've been is some embarrassment. Trent Dilfer is what people thought Deion Sanders was going to be at Colorado. And like Deion said last year after Colorado got blown out by Oregon, you better get them now because this is the worst that it's going to be. And Colorado, man, a lot of you guys don't want to admit it, but this is the best team in the Big 12 right now. And I'm rolling with them still to win the Big 12 championship as I predicted before the season started. Because a lot of y'all like to call me Deion haters, but y'all seem to forget I was the only person on this platform that was screaming how they were going to win the Big 12. Just saying.